Welcome back to the Peggy Smedley Show, the podcasting voice of IoT and digital transformation.
Welcome back to the Peggy Smedley Show. I'm coming to you live from CES in Las Vegas. And my next guest here is Kevin Oranje. He is the co-founder of Zoe. Kevin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
So I know that you're over there in Eureka Park. We seem to have a lot of people over here from Eureka Park. You guys are all the brains of all the new products over there.
Yes. So we're at the Holland Pavilion at Eureka Park. We're one of the 50 startups that got selected to go on this tour and actually present our product here. So we're excited to be here.
How exciting for you guys.
Yeah.
That's great. So your product is on display here so everybody can see as it's kind of rotating there with the video. So tell our viewers a little bit about your product today.
Yeah, so Zoe Meet is a communication tool that you can bring along. It's like an assistant for your international meetups. And what it does, it takes in multilingual voice
Not a
input.
dating meetup.
It's
so
not
we'll
a
make
dating.
Sure. Okay,
yeah,
just getting that out there.
No, so meetup as in meetings with international people at conferences, events, sales pitches, wherever you encounter a language barrier. That's where we come in, and we provide an application for your phone as well as a browser platform. And you can have people speaking, for example, in Chinese, and the translation will actually pick it up and then display subtitles in whatever language that you can read in. So it allows you to understand content in whatever language that's being presented.
So now, what made you guys come up with this idea? I mean, it's a great idea because how many times are you somewhere and you go, I have no idea what they're saying, and I'm sure they're saying something important, but I cannot understand them.
Yeah, so that's something we encounter every time. So we've been doing products for a while now, and last time we went to Japan, we were there with a translator, and we pitched our product to our clients, and it was about 10 minutes, and then the translator turned around and did a 2-minute pitch for our feeling and came back and said, like, all right, they're okay with the product. But we had no idea what was being said because we missed out on that little moment of communication. And then afterwards, they took us to a networking event, and for 4 hours straight, there were presentations in Japanese. And there were more English-speaking people there, and they had no clue what was going on. So while we were there, we were thinking, well, this might be a problem for more people. And we actually went back to the drawing board in Rotterdam in the Netherlands and said, well, let's figure out how we can solve and bridge this gap of communication.
So how are you able to do that? Tell us what's behind the technology.
Yeah, we get the question a lot. How is it different than Google or Amazon, and how do you compete with these big players? We kind of don't want to compete. So instead of competing with the big players, we work with them, and we work with all of them. So what we do is we know, for example, through testing in our backend process that Google might be good at Russian to English, or Amazon might be good at Spanish to German. And we do that based on the testing. We select the best source for our users at that moment. So at the moment that one of our users selects the app and goes to output in Japanese, for example, we look in our service and see what is the best source at this moment to be using English to Japanese translations to display this to this user. And we have about 20 of them, so we can cherry pick the best solution at that moment.
And does that, by being able to do that, the application that you're doing, you've created it so that you're capturing it at that moment?
Yeah, so it's real time. It takes in real time audio, voice spoken content, and then it translates it live and displays subtitles live to read. At the same time, it's also storing the audio of it, and it's storing the transcription. So you can look back of what was said, and it's searchable transcripts that are timestamped with the audio. So even 4 years later, you can go back into our platform and say, hey, last time I had this interview with Kevin and he said something about storing transcriptions, and you will hear me say it because the audio is connected to that moment in time as well.
I think you need to have one where people can't say English words properly, English to English. You might be on something there.
Yeah, so English to English subtitles are also supported. So we had actually at the Holland Pavilion, they present something there and did the opening, and then we can provide the subtitles there from English to English to get through the noise.
See, that might have been here, where we are here.
Yeah.
So you don't have it out yet. Talk to us
Not
about
yet.
when you're going to unveil this product.
Yeah, so right now we're here to get our final feedback to see what kind of industries are interested and how we can tweak this a little bit more to get to that point of final completion. So by March, we're going to go into the App Store. We have our beta release in March, so people can sign up at the website to be part of this. And that's the moment where we're going to go live with the Android app. And 2 weeks later, we're going to release the iPhone app, so the iOS. From that point forward, about April, we'll also have a desktop application which allows you to do video conferencing. So then you can subtitle your international meetups as well.
So talk to me about pricing for something like this. Will you be doing this under individual pricing, then company pricing? How do you expect to price a product like this?
So we use a subscription model for this, and it's $19 per month for a subscription, and that's per user to use. So then you can translate, you can have your transcriptions, it can be retrieved, you can have the audio recordings, and then there's a more enterprise level, which we have, which is about $49 per user, and that is more based on extra AI features that we have in there, such as auto summaries, audio compiling when you auto summarize, output in your own voice, so you can have your own voice, and that transcription can be outputted in audio, and also in Japanese or Chinese or Russian, whatever language you like.
So in time, if someone's doing regular recordings, you hope to do all this as well for them to help them do recordings of other things?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just so much as a transcribing tool as a communication tool. So if you're not doing translations and you just want to have that transcription of what was said, that is also possible to have.
So looking at all of this kind of things, what do you see are some of the biggest trends that you're seeing with a tool like this? Is this something that the need has become more and more, that why you guys decided to do this, not only from what you were seeing, but that it's becoming, as we've become more globally connected as a world, that this is a tool like this has become more and more important?
Yeah, so Nick Yap, who is my co-founder, he's also the founder of Travis the Translator, and Travis the Translator is a small device, a pocket translator that you can use, and you can translate into up 100 languages, over 100 languages, and that's voice to voice. So you can use that to have your questions, or you can have that to go somewhere in medical purposes, in a hospital, for example, to ask questions. And from that point forward, he saw that that's very consumer-based in having conversations, but also on a social level to communicate better in different organizations, where we're voice to text. So we saw that there was a gap in the market also for all these people that don't want that disruption of audio to audio, but want to follow a conversation with subtitles and have the transcription of it later as well. So Travis is one of the companies we work with closely, and also announce a partnership with, so we can support the transcription part of it, where they have the voice to voice, so we can have a machine that can do both.
So looking at this right now, what's the feedback, Ben? You know, as people are talking to you, as you're showing them this, do they say, well, there's other products like this on the market, or are they saying this is kind of unique?
So far, people are very surprised that it's not in the market yet, because it sounds so simple to actually take in voice and then translate it and show it to people as subtitles, like we do in all the movies we watch. I grew up watching English movies and reading the Dutch subtitles in a way that I could learn English as well. So people are very surprised, and they love the idea that you can have multiple translations at the same time. So if you have a speech and there's international people in the audience, they can select their own language online as well. Just go to the browser, there's no registration, no download, just keep it simple, enter a PIN number, and be able to follow what's being said. So for me, as a user, when we went to Japan, when we actually tested it, we found that I could follow all these presentations suddenly, and that was a moment where I figured, wow, I'm included in this whole meetup that's happening at this network event.
How long have you been beta testing it now?
So far, we did about 6 months of research and then 6 months of development, so five to 6 months, and we've been testing it in different locations. So right now, it's being used every week at Venture Cafe in Tokyo. So they're doing Japanese to English translations and displaying it on the screen. We're going on a trade mission as well to Japan to do the same for them. And then we have a lot of individuals asking about the desktop application because they want to use it for their Google Hangouts or their Skype conference calls, so they can have the subtitles, but as well as the recording and the transcription to later on pass on to their colleagues.
So what do you see as the biggest challenge that you have, introducing this product to market?
I think right now a lot of people, we're looking for what markets to serve best. So we're seeing different applications for this. A lot of people are looking for the medical purposes, to be able to speak to a doctor. Others are saying, I want to use this for my sales pitches when I go to another country. So what we see is the challenge is how can we help different industries to use this in the best way. And the way we are trying to tackle this is using plugins to create different AI plugins, so you can create your own communication assistant, so you have different ways of building your own assistant. And we're going to talk to professionals in the industry to do terminology-specific training for our own AI. So instead of using the speech-to-speech or speech-to-text AI, we build on top of all the existing platforms. But besides that, we're going to train our own AI to be terminology-specific. So we can go to the pharmaceutical industry and say that we now have a more specific training for their purpose, and do the same for the medical industry. And that's the challenge we see. How can we make this more specific for our users?
When you talk about AI right now, I'm sure you've seen a lot of AI solutions. What do you think about what's happening right now? We've gone the Internet of Things, now we're talking AI.
Yeah.
Are people really embracing the concept of AI, or it's just, again, we're like, AI is now another big buzzword that we got out there?
Yeah. I get that all the time, and I think that AI is definitely going to take off a lot more, as we see in this conventions as well. There's AI, and voice is just taking off more. We have smart speakers. We see that the auto industry is looking at voice, especially if we're talking about self-driving cars in the future. We can expect them to be voice automated because we need to control the situation. So I think even in homes, we see that it's growing in smart speakers, and people are getting used to asking questions. So if AI is supporting us more in our daily lives, making it easier, then that's definitely the way we're going in the future.
We're going to have to get people to know how to use the voice in a proper tone and texture, or are people going to be able to use it in their own way of speaking?
I think we see several applications for this. So we're also trying to partner up with different organizations where we do an analysis on what's being said based on the voice. We can hear the tremble, we can hear if they're nervous, if they're anxious. I saw a same presentation of the automotive industry where they control the voice and know if someone in the car is happy or sad, and based on that change the situation
based on
in
emotion.
the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that is also going to take a huge leap in which we communicate, and then AI is going to recognize our emotion in that as well. So I have no idea where it's going, but it's definitely going in the way of AI.
And none of these kind of things will ever be altered by what you're bringing to market. It's strictly translation, so you think none of that will change the way your solutions are at this moment?
Well, if we keep building on top of the existing platforms, we know that they're being trained because they want to be the best. We see a lot of competing attitude from Amazon and Google, and they're trying to outcompete each other. So they're both trying to train their AI harder to make it more accurate. So while they're doing that, we can benefit from that situation while using different directions to see how we can train our own AI to be more specific for an industry, or have more features to it as plugins to upgrade your platform.
Well, it's exciting. I think it's great. Again, where can our listeners go for Zoe? What's your website?
It's zoimeet.jp or .com. It depends on where you're from, but it all goes to the same website. You can sign up at zoimeet.com for a beta release, and you will be one of the first that can try it out for free. So we're going to do a period of time where we're going to release it for free, so you can try it out, translate, store transcriptions, export it, and then later on we're going to introduce the subscription model.
All right. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, viewers and listeners, we're out of time for this segment, but stick around. We've got more coming right here from CES Live 2019. But check out our website at connectedworld.com, or our past archives that all this will be on is the PeggySmedleyShow.com. But also tweet at us. Tweet us at ConnectedWMag. This is the Peggy Smedley Show, the podcasting voice of IoT and digital technology and digital transformation. But remember, with great technology comes great responsibility. We'll be right back after this short break.